Dear Diary, Jay still won't talk to me. In fact, he won't even look at me, and I don't know what to do. Dear Diary, I hope my mum doesn't find this diary. I've hidden it well, but she does like searching for it. Dear Diary, it's almost my birthday. I'm going to be 14. Can you believe it? 14, and my mum thinks I'm not even grown up. Dear Diary, Mrs. Smith told me today that I wouldn't amount to anything. Well, I'm sure going to show her. Hello, lovelies. Dear Diary, hey, those were the days back in the early 80s when I was going on 14 and writing in a diary was the biggest thing that I did each day. Going way back to as long as I can remember, really, I've kept some kind of diary or journal, and they're important to me. So when I saw this old school diary cover made out of leather, hand tooled, complete out of the 70s or early 80s, I just knew that it was going to make a perfect journal cover. So that's what I've done, made it into a journal cover. So let's have a flip through and see now what I've done, because it's sort of a new take on a journal. I wanted it to be sort of an updated junk journal version of the Dear Diary, because back in the day, we would have just had a normal diary with a little lock on the side. You remember that kind of thing. But today we're a little bit more grown up. So let's see what I've done. All right, so the actual book here is one of the Australian prayer books. So let me just take it out of here. And you'll see it was an Australian prayer book. And I've just done 3-hole pamphlet stitch on the side that goes all the way through. And then this just sits beautifully in there and goes around like that. So let's have a flip through and I'll show you what it looks like inside. So plenty of places to journal. But yeah, it's sort of a grown-up version of Dear Diary. Lays nice and flat for journaling. I use some vintage fabric, which was straight out of the late 70s. It was an old dress that I found, so that fits right in with it. Lots of little places to put notes. Like back in the day, we used to have our secret notes in our little diaries, didn't we? There's grunged up and inked little doilies there. That's from an old kid's storybook. Some flower petals there. Middle of the first section, or the first signature. So plenty of writing places. Yeah. Lots of different textures for you to feel. That's an old plain ticket. I've just done some gesso over the top. And that says awake. Back of that fabric. The oranges and browns. Now we're moving to the second signature. Lots of old school colours in here. An old dressing table mat. Looks like something that I had on my dressing table when I was 14. More little secret note places. It's an old postcard from Japan. So I've just left it blank. This is some of the rust dyeing that I did on an old sheet, and then I've just done some slow stitching on the machine. different flowers written around. It's an old envelope that came with something for me. More ink dyeing. Little secret note places. The rust dyeing turned out really beautiful. And then I just did some stitching on the machine at the top. Just see that there? That's out of an old book that I got. You just flip it up. So all of these little secret places are places like in your old diary back in the day you would have put, I don't know, pictures of your boyfriend or whatever. Remember back in the day you used to write your name but with his last name and then the address that you thought you would live at when you were married. All the silly things you used to write in your diary. That's the back of the dressing table mat there, so you could do some slow stitching or something on that. And then there's a little pocket there for you to put your bits in. So it's beautifully hand tooled, all handmade, and the stitching doesn't show on the outside here because I've done it on the inside book. So yeah, there's a little dear diary. So that is actually going into my Etsy shop later on today, so you can purchase it. And if you purchase any of my journals before Christmas, I'll actually send them express post to make sure that you get them in time. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this little journey back down memory lane when we all had our diaries that we wrote in every day. It's funny, isn't it? And now we're doing our journaling and we call them a journal instead of a diary. But yeah, I guess this is old school, so it just made me think of my dear diary days back in the day. All right, thank you for tuning in. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Straight cruising, headed for a bruising, watching out for number one. You gotta slow down and look around you, son. Today is just today and not tomorrow. Where you're going, you can rest your head. Where you're going, brightness looks big. Where you're going, truth cannot be hid. You gotta get going. Easy now. You gotta get going. Easy now. Be hard working so you can be deserving of the rest that you are given.